Hi, everyone. Hi, on Breaking Free family. We are here with Lashelle Ullie and I'd like to introduce this wonderful esthetician who makes people's skin glow. And we'd love to just talk to him a little bit about his work and how he became an esthetician and how he started to work with people who have cancer and also people who smoke. Definitely tune in. And if you have any other questions or so forth about this type of work, feel free to reach out to us. In the meantime, I'd like to introduce you to Lashelle Ullie. Thank you so
Hello, how are you?
much.
How are
Good. How are
you?
you? Good, good.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here.
Mhm.
Dr. Beard connected us, and she always has a vision for things, and do appreciate the work that she's doing with Breaking Free. And thank you for being part of the Breaking Free family today. And
I really am very, very honored to be here, especially under this organization led by Dr. Beard. It means something very special to me, coming from just have this be transparent, a Black woman who she's always trying to put health and priority first for the community. So sign me up.
thank you. Yes, definitely. And it doesn't seem like she's retiring anytime soon. So.
Ah,
So tell me, tell us, how long have you done work as an esthetician, and tell us a bit about your focus and so forth.
Okay, so I've been an esthetician, practicing esthetician for the past, I would say, 8 years. But I've been in this industry for over 20 years. I started out as a makeup artist
Mm.
in '96, and I worked in every capacity in sales, from management to resident artistry, freelance artistry on down. I really started to focus on skin about 9 years ago because it was something that I personally liked, just for myself aesthetically, but then it was also something that allowed me to connect with people in a way that I really like to connect with people. And it's something about helping people transform something that's so fundamental and not superficial. Skin is the largest organ of the body. We live with it. It's ours. It's nothing we can't get rid of.
Mhm.
And so being able to be part of any portion of that healing process, I just started to do it. What made me focus on men was one, because a couple of years ago, around 9 years ago, there was a phase, a beard phase, and
Mm.
I just knew instinctively. I just said, this is the next step. And I personally, as a makeup artist and a brow specialist, because I work at a salon that does brows, I loved working on men in this way because I knew that this was something that really enhanced their look, which I liked.
Mhm.
But and I also knew this was something that they were unknown to them and that they were resistant to, because culturally it's not accepted or wasn't seen as something that a man should do.
Mhm.
And I understood instinctively that skin health, because I really say that I'm a skin health professional, and I'll tell you a little bit why in a minute. Um, because I knew that skin reflects everything that goes on in our internally, what we
Right.
put in our bodies, our stress, our diet, health issues. And when I started to focus on men, I knew that most men neglected all of those things because, once again, culturally, in the past, now it's changing, and it's changed, should I say, men were seeing that wasn't a priority.
Right.
Self-care came very last to none at all. It was, how I feel about myself and how I am about myself is the reflection of the money that I make and the things outside of myself. So I went on my own personal journey of self-healing, and I used my beauty skills to help me nurture me through it. And I said, guys need this. They're going to love this.
Yeah.
And that's what made me started to focus on men's skin health. And as I was doing men's skin health and I started the business, I wanted to go deeper, and I was already trained in oncological skincare. Because, once again, I didn't just want to do simple facials. When I was a makeup artist, I got tired because I didn't want to be the celebrity makeup artist guy. Nothing for me. I, you know, but so skin health, when I did oncological skincare, I was like, I knew that there was a connection to health. And if I can work with this particular community, I can start to really understand and hone how to connect the dots. And so this is where I'm at. I skin health expert who specializes in oncological care,
Mhm.
mental health, I mean, any external health. skin issues, and men's skin health.
Wow. So when you do the oncological, you may have to help me with that pronunciation.
I
No,
can't
I
speak.
got you. I'm sorry.
Oncology-based skincare.
Oncology-based skincare, say it like that. How did you, or do you work with men and women, or is that focus
Yeah.
also? Okay.
So let me be very transparent and clear. I do work with women. I mean, my gosh, I would have never gotten my business if it wasn't for women. Started out with women, but yes, in that sector, I work with both men and women. Actually, there are less men that I get to see and more women who I get to work with in the oncology skincare because I work with organizations. I've started working with the Tower Cancer Research Center. I work with Cancer Support LA. I am now with an organization called Looking Good and Feeling Fab, which is based in Boston by Holly Brown. She's fantastic.
Mhm.
And there's most women who come to these organizations to get that aftercare, that preventative care, which is skin health. Men, I am still like in my regular business, hoping to get more, trying to inspire more, but I have worked on men in this business.
Thanks. So do you, what is the process of working with oncology skincare, and how does that work? How does that play out? What's the difference between doing that versus
So
regular?
the difference is simply understanding the contraindications that one has to under understand when
Mhm.
dealing with someone who has been through cancer, i.e., certain immunotherapy treatments, radiation treatments, chemo treatments. Understanding how to position them, the pace of which you work on them, and the pressure of which you work on them. Understanding ingredients, understanding how the disease affects the skin and the body, understand how the medications affect the skin and the body, and more importantly, understanding what the psychological aspects of dealing with someone who's worked and lived with
Right,
cancer. So
right.
in the treatment room, I'm doing all types of integrative therapies to help nourish and nurture the spirit. Because after
Mhm.
being through chemo and radiation, it's pretty stressful and traumatic, and there's such a different lifestyle change. Just sometimes someone like me can help with that understanding of everything I just said, can help facilitate integration into their new normal. Now, some of the effects of the skin, the dehydration, sometimes they get chemo rash, dryness. There are wounds that happen from lymph node removals and surgeries, and understanding how to put touch to those and certain ingredients to those to help and facilitate that wound healing is a way that I have to understand differently,
Mhm.
and as if I was just doing someone who's coming in for a skin treatment or a facial.
Right, that makes sense. Is I know you don't have a base cost, but is there a range of how much that costs, and is it covered by insurance?
So, I'm so glad you even asked the question. Um, no, it's not covered by insurance. I'm going to answer the question in reverse
Okay.
because that's important to me. One of the reasons why I really love doing this work, because one of the goals I'd like to do is work to a point where I can start having these conversations with people who make those decisions about how we as estheticians could be beneficial to the practitioners as aftercare.
Mhm.
No, they're not. So I
And is
do.
a part of the body that needs to be cared for
Of
too. But
course, we're just as vital. We're working in tandem
right,
to anything that you're doing after they've received treatment.
right,
So
right.
I've worked with great organizations like Greet the Day, who are now in Newport Beach. They work with the Hoag Institute. And I know that some of those practitioners are working with those hospitals. I know that Holly Brown, with Looking Good and Feeling Fab in
Mhm.
Boston, is working with certain hospitals. We're starting to get there, but really kind of making that connection of bringing us in as continuum care and helping us be on the insurance so people can use our services as part of continuum care is something that's a goal and a hope and a dream of mine. We don't, my prices vary. I tend to, if I'm getting a client from one of the organizations, I do a fixed cost for them
Okay.
at $100 to $125 because I understand what has happened and transpired
Mhm.
I also have the Looking Good and Feeling Fab Foundation that I mostly have people sign up for, because with Looking Good and Feeling Fab Foundation, they can get 3 complimentary services from me with products provided at a 20% discount, right? And after they've gotten those 3 complimentary services through the foundation, pay it forward, they can actually see me for $70. It's
Oh, wow.
it's a modified treatment, but can see me. So there are ways that I can meet the needs of those particular
Um, you were saying that it's $70 for certain people, and then you can still meet the needs and
types.
mhm.
So the pay it forward is after you see me through the organization of looking good and feeling fab. You see me for
Okay.
3 complimentary, and then you right away after those 3 complimentary, you're sort of initiated right into the pay it forward process, which you'll now see me for $70. But
Okay.
it's only through that foundation can you do that,
Got it.
because outside of the foundation it is 100 to $125.
Okay. Wow. Well, we should probably talk about that more too, as far as how people can donate to those foundations. But and you can.
Right. So what you can do is if you go right onto my site,
Mhm.
LachelleUlie.com. You'll go to Looking Good and Feeling Fab. You can go link right onto the site. You can find out more about it. You'll see the different programs that we have there. If you are someone or know someone who needs that sort of skin health help, you can have them fill out an application. And if they're here in Los Angeles, they would automatically come see me. So it's pretty easy. You just go right onto my site.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. It's awesome.
Oh,
It's-
you're welcome. I love it.
yeah. And so do you also encounter patients who smoke or people who smoke, or do you serve?
Of course, of
Yeah.
course, of course, of course I do. You know, people are smoking, they're vaping. It's all the above nowadays. I
Yeah.
I think I've always encountered that, especially some men who do it. I see it on a lot of my clients.
Mhm. Is there a standard care of treatment for people who smoke, or is there a different type of treatment that you noticed?
Well, treatment is relative,
Mhm.
right? I recognize the signs of the skin. I know what they look like. There's dehydration, there's dullness, there's paleness in
Mm.
the skin, there's sagging in the skin. And these are things that happen in normal skin as well. But with a smoker's skin, there's a distinct difference. And the distinct difference also plays a part into your ethnic background.
Mm.
So certain things look different on darker skin types than they do on lighter skin types,
Mm.
right? What smoking does is contracts the blood vessels, which doesn't allow oxygen to the skin.
Right.
Sagging happens, right? Lines in the head, lines on the nasal labial folds. I can see that in a lighter skin type who's a consummate smoker
Mhm.
quicker than I can see that on a blacker skin type, right? With us is dull dehydration. We can come off as ashiness a little bit. And when I say ashiness, it's not, someone could still put moisturizer in the skin, but I could still see the lack of oxygen that's not allowing the skin a certain tone and pigmentation.
Okay.
Okay. So to answer your question on treatment, it's relative. The only thing I need to understand is what's lacking. Is it more collagen? Do they need more elastin? Do they need to work on the pigmentation, or all the above? And I tend to focus the treatment towards that. Now, I love doing things like oxygen facials, which infuses serums into the top layers of the skin.
Mm.
Collagen is always a great ingredient, and any ways that I can incorporate that into the skin. Some clients, to most, do great with really good moisturizing, hydrating treatments with LED panels onto the skin. But this is something that they have in order to see a reprieve in the skin, you have to be committed and consistent
Right.
in seeing me just not periodically, uh, consistently
Mhm. Mhm.
to see the change.
Right, that makes sense. And this just occurred to me. Secondhand smoke, can you tell, like, can secondhand smoke also affect your skin? If
It
you
can if you're around it constantly. You
Yeah.
know, if it's the one and done time, no, it's not going to bother you as much.
Mhm.
But if you're living with someone, or, you know, that is constantly smoking in an enclosed area and you're right underneath them, of course it definitely has an effect on someone, you
Right.
know, and I think it over time, obviously, if you're inhaling it just as much as they're smoking it, your skin is affected by it, you
Right.
know. There's those rare cases where people are super sensitive to any sort of exposure to it, that
Mhm.
they may, just by internally inhaling it, it can stress out certain cells in the body that, you know, you may see like little histamic breakouts, but those are rare cases. But yes, secondhand smoke can definitely play a part in how the skin looks.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and you mentioned this already, that there is a physical difference in your skin between someone who smokes and someone who doesn't smoke. And
Yeah, there is. I mean, you're dealing with collagen and elastin breakdown, which plumps and firms the skin, you know. Um, Vitamin D, which is very important for especially African Americans. Us, we need vitamin D. And what it does is it helps repairs tissues, it helps with things like wound healing. And what that does is by smoking, it kind of like it allows that vitamin D to less circulate in the body.
Mhm.
Okay. So that helps with the immune system as well. And so if your immune system is not working properly and there's stress there, then obviously it will show up on the skin. And if you have health issues underlining, those things are going to be very prevalent onto the skin. And I talked about the blood vessels, and it also causes oxidative stress to things like just elastin, which helps firmness in the skin. So sometimes you'll get people with that thin skin,
Yeah.
mostly darker skin tones. That's when I can really tell
Mm.
when if they are smokers. If they don't have the visible lines, because sometimes that's not the case, especially if you're biracial too, you can always tell. But the thinness of the skin really lets me know that there's some smoking happening there.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I mean, you get, and then lines, right? There's certain people who start to really form the collapse of collagen, which causes lines in the face, you know, those smoker lines. You're
Mm.
smiling, a smoker line. Like I told you, nasal label folds, the upper lip lines. You ever see people with those lip lines that kind of thin? Just
Yeah.
smoke, it kind of breaks down that collagen. And the
Mm.
collagen is the wall that gives our skin it's you I don't like to use that word youthful, it's healthy structure,
Right. Right.
strong structure of strength. Now with African Americans, it's kind of harder to see after a while because our collagen walls are pretty strong by nature, but I have seen certain people where you can kind of just look right at them and tell through lines in their skin that yes, they are smokers as well.
Yeah.
And then most importantly, and last, is the dehydration. So transepidermal border loss. You're looking at like it's also it causes sagging. It's great, you know, because water is the biggest anti-ager.
Mm.
It has everything flowing in and out of the body, helps everything kind of come into the skin, hydrates, plumps, and then when it helps things kind of like detox out.
Right.
And when the cigarette smoke happens, it dehydrates the skin and you lose that.
Yeah. Are those conditions reversible if someone decides to stop smoking and,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Yes. Now, if you are a 20-year smoker,
Mhm.
hi, let me also say if they're reversible, if you're using skincare and things to replace as much as you can the things you have lost.
Okay.
If you're so far along in age and the process of aging has started where some of those things like collagen wall breakdown is a little bit more intense, um, and you're using nothing to sort of re-nourish the
Mhm.
bodies of its proteins that it's lost, then you still will see those signs of the skin. I think some of signs of the sagging and the collagen deprivation.
Right.
Uh, Tonality tends to come back a little bit more so, especially if there's no underlining health issues. If there's underlining health issues, right? And
Mhm.
your skin's already kind of been broken down of years of smoking, and then there's no skin health reprieve of ingredients and nourishment, then yes, you'll start seeing that discoloration won't be as prevalent as it was when you were smoking, but it will still be there. But yes, using bringing in really healthy skin regimens, understanding at being consistent and committed to it, and using those ingredients at home, also internally as well. You know, skin health starts from within. So
Right.
understanding how to detox that body out, things like probiotics and things of that nature are so great for that. Um, and drinking and rehydrating the body back in. And cigarette health as well as skin health is all related again to mental health. So once your mind has sort of disconnected from that uh, crutch,
Mm.
uh, the vitality of life shows up on your skin too. So there's an inner brightness that happens because there, you know, we know that cigarette smoke is psychological, mental, and emotional.
Mm.
And if you've gotten that proverbial monkey off your back, you're walking with a different spirit, and that shows up on your skin. So those, I believe it's totally reversible to some degree.
Definitely. Speaking of monkey off your back, it's my understanding that you got a monkey off your back too, at some point.
Well, can I be more transparent?
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm still struggling on and off with it
Okay.
because it's psychological
Mhm.
and emotional. I've acquired my business on my own.
Mm.
Uh, and for the past, I would say 4 years, but 2.5 if we want to count COVID in, I have never smoked like that. Uh, Prior to 2 years, in the past 2 years, I've been up and down with it, just working through letting it go. But it's something that I have been able to stop and understand. Um, I personally, that's why I can talk to some of the damages, especially in black skin, because I know my own.
Mm.
But it's something that I am continually working on and will continue to work on because before that, that was never a problem.
Mm.
It was never a problem. But what I understand now about smoking is a lot of it is control. You know, sometimes I don't feel like I'm in control of how things should look and
Mhm.
be. Uh, my own business, you know, if you know anyone who has their own business, it's you have to get up day to day and make the decisions and figure the things out to expand and grow. And I'm learning all those things. And in saying that, I have been spinning out of control trying to figure it out. And so I'll turn to that cigarette to give me some reprieve because it's the one thing that I know I could have controlled. Uh, and it's the one thing that I'm working really hard to really leave about.
Um, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we actually had a few resources, and one thing that came to mind is yeah, I came across IV treatments, maybe like vitamin C IV treatments, or things to kind of flush your system out so that it's something that's not that part will be taken care of. And then we have a Spiral Up Light app that's part of the Cancer Moonshot um through the White House and to help with the stress part. So,
I
if you don't
really, I love that. I was telling Dr. Beard that I'm really interested in taking the program just so that I can continue to educate. The one thing I would say is that I'm able to go weeks without smoking,
Mhm.
weeks, you know. Um, I like the idea of the nutrients in the IV. I think that's very important. That definitely plays a part into the skin health, bringing that's part of bringing that nutrients, those proteins back into the collagen walls, back into those cells.
Mhm.
I'm all for that. And then obviously anything psychological. So I love what your program is doing in that way. I think it's very, very smart. I hadn't heard anybody or anyone doing anything specifically for smokers that deal with both of those things. So I think it's what you're doing is spot on. And
Right.
I'm definitely interested, not only for my own personal journey, but
Mhm.
only also for my skin, for the more
Mhm.
research on skin health journey for
Right,
others.
right, right. Yeah, because we're all here trying to be the best we can be, take care of our bodies because our bodies are a temple. And so, the Lord, and we just want to make sure that we're good and taking care of every avenue of it. So we're
Yeah,
we're here together. So
I'm
let's
happy.
fight together.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate your work because it's so unique and it fills a niche that I don't think people even consider. So then when you talk about it, it's like, oh, duh, that makes sense, you know?
Mhm.
So unless it's something that's maybe I, wasn't aware of, and maybe people do know, but you know,
Well, one of the things I get to say, I love my work. I love people more. That's why I love my work. I cannot walk or suggest anything that I haven't been through, honestly. That's one of the reasons why I love doing what I do. And even this weird journey of my life that I'm on, um, because I always want to come from a place of integrity. Um, and I want people to see that in my work. So with skin health and building up their skin strength, I want them to understand that not uh, it's not a one and done deal. It's with you for the rest of your life.
right,
Uh, you have to take care of it. And to understand how to take care of it, you must understand what it really is. Skin is the indication of who you are and what you are. Mostly when you come into my space and you lay down within 20 minutes after a couple of like light conversations, and sometimes they're not the skincare conversations, it's just life conversations and looking at your skin, I could pretty much understand who you are and what's really happening. So I try to tell people, especially my male clientele, go on this journey, especially this home care skin health journey. Go on seeing other health practitioners to get all the mental, all the emotional things worked with as we do this, and you'll see a huge change. And sometimes you don't feel it on the inside. Sometimes the outside is the one thing you can connect with to go, I have changed, and this is healthier, and your skin is definitely it.
very, very true.
So
Yeah, and you're based in Los Angeles, right?
I am based in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
I'm at 338 North Cannon Drive. I'm really proud to be there, and I've been there for about 4 years, so I'm there. And yeah, people can find me at www.lashelleulie.com. All my information's there. I do have an Instagram, Lashelle_men, MEN. And yeah, I mean, DMs, you can do consultations with me. You can call me or text me direct. If you have any questions on anything skin, I'm here.
Thank you. I'm just curious, how did you connect with Breaking Free and how did you find out about the Breaking Free from Nicotine program?
I found out about Breaking Free because I did a presentation for the Men's Cancer Network.
Oh, okay.
Freddie, gentleman named Freddie, great
Yeah.
guy. And Dr. Beard had presented. We both heard each other, and then we really wanted to talk to each other afterward, and we did. And I shared some of my personal journey. I shared what I understand smoking, how smoking affects certain parts of life, and and the individual. And we just said, hey, let's figure something out. And so here we are today.
Wow. And you're just going from here.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely. I told her, I said, because of my own personal journey and me really letting this go, however I need to help the organization in any way that I can, I would do it because those are the things that will kill that psychological, emotional a part of of connection to the cigarette, right?
Right.
Getting right in front of it, getting right honest about what this is all about, and then getting the help and the support so that I can so that I can not have to turn back.
Right.
And I know she's doing that for so many others.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. And she's good at it too.
And I
So
know she's good at it. Got me here. Look at me.
oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. And
Yeah.
yeah, is there anything else you'd like to say to our listeners?
Yes, yes. So I have a YouTube channel that I'd love people to subscribe to, Lashelle Ullie, on YouTube. It's basically going to be me just talking about different skin treatments, different things in our industry, because our industry is changing, it's growing, and having conversations with industry professionals. And so I would love people to follow me there. It's my new baby.
Oh, congratulations.
Just I'm just launching it. So I'd love for people to go there because I will be talking about things pertaining to skin health, pertaining to smoking, pertaining to oncology, pertaining to men's skin health, and other things that people should know about what we do and how I do it.
I love that. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you for so much for having me here and allowing
Um,
me space to be transparent today.
yeah, no, thank you for doing that because that's the only way that people can even break, like literally break free because from hearing other people's stories and seeing that what's possible. I think that it just makes a big difference. Like really,
Yes,
yeah. So
I
thank
do.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And we'll definitely put all of your information up so that people can join in and connect with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.